Welcome to Game Changer Weekly. John, how are you doing this Tuesday evening?
Oh man, I'm doing great, but I think we need to ask the man himself. Matt Tremont, how you doing this evening, man?
I'm good. I'm chilling. Usually I'm in bed, but
Keeping you
Hey,
up late here.
hey, thank you so much, man. We really do appreciate it. We know it's
no
it's
problem.
11 o'clock on the East Coast.
All good. Thank you for having me on.
The fans are excited
Yeah.
as
All right,
well.
so
Jim's already stoked
yeah,
here. And yes, great one. We got new updated intro with FES Champion and some other Hammerstein highlights as well, though. So thank you, Ivan J, with the new updated intro for year one, I guess, today. Almost year one. Week.
Yep. Fire J Media, man. Ivan does it the best. He puts those intros on. It looked so good. Great one. Welcome. Jim McKinn. Welcome. Havoc. Welcome. James Noter. Do Not Fret Citizen. I think I got all y'all. Let's rock it. We got limited time. It's 11 o'clock on the East Coast. Let's rock and roll. All right. So here's what we're going to do. I like to make sure that everyone who comes in and sits down with our guests knows who they are, what they're about, what they've done. So just take it easy for a minute or two, maybe three. I'm going to go through your accolades. So
Okay.
I'm so sorry to the fans who aren't ready, but yeah, kick back and relax for a couple minutes. I'm going to give you a little background on the man himself. Listeners, we have a very special guest with us tonight, the Bulldozer, Matt Tremont, a.k.a. Killdozer, a.k.a. El Gordo Libre. Hailing from New Jersey, he just turned 37 years old. Happy birthday, sir. 20 plus years in ring experience, spending over one half of his life in professional wrestling. Matt is also well on his way to entering the 1,000 match club before he retires. The most matches he wrestled in 1 year was 85 in 2015, and over his career, he averages 53 matches per year. Not bad for a man who specializes in deathmatch and hardcore. The top three companies Matt has had the most appearances for: CZW 111 times, H2O 108, and GCW 75. He's a 17-time champion, averaging 270 days per major title reign, and is the current Deathmatch Down Under World Deathmatch Champion, 122 days and counting, and GCW Ultraviolent Champion, 51 days and running. Here's a short list of some of his most notable title reigns: the GCW World Tag Team Champion with Nick Gage as the Hate Club, ICW American Deathmatch World Champion, the SWF Hardcore Champion, 216 days, the IWTV Independent Wrestling World Champion, 226 days, the two-time VOW Anarchy Champion, a combined 268 days, GCW World Champion, 294 days, CZW World Champion, 399 days, and his longest title reign, the ISW Undisputed King of Crazy Champion, 564 days. Notable stables and tag teams: Awakening with Stockade and G-Raver, Scars and Stripes with Daddy Star, Weapons of Mass Destruction with Jeff Cannonball, the Hate Club with Nick Gage, Killdozer and Cruel, that eventually evolved into Legion. Matt is a titan in the world of independent and deathmatch wrestling, with a wrestling lineage that shoots straight to Dick Murdoch. He's a Grand Slam champion, being the only wrestler to conquer all 4 U.S. deathmatch tournaments: CZW Tournament of Death, IWA Mid-South King of the Deathmatch twice, the IWA East Coast Masters of Pain, and the IWA Deep South Carnage Cup. He's participated in 50 tournaments in his career and made it to the finals 26 times, winning 11. That means any tournament Matt's in, there's a 50% chance he's in the finals and a 22% chance he'll win just by walking through the curtain. Tremont's first match at GCW was their very first show, the Nick Gage Invitational, on September 5th, 2015. Which means Matt will be only one of 2 people actively in rotation at GCW that can say they have performed with the company since day one. The only other active GCW member would be Joey Janela. Since then, Tremont's wrestled 75 matches with us, won the GCW Extreme Championship, Tag Team, Ultraviolent, and GCW World Championship. He debuted on the PWI 500 in 2013 at number 419. His highest ever ranking was number 137 in 2023. This year, he ranked 201. He built his own promotion and training school, Hardcore Hustle organization, H2O, a New Jersey staple. He's been a large part of the training of well-known names like Marcus Crane, Austin Luke, Dylan McKay, Marcus Mathers, and many others. Tremont's journey is a testament to grit, passion, and an unrelenting drive to entertain. His presence is colossal, looking every bit of the warrior that he is, equal parts intimidating and endearing. A true storyteller, his emotional promos are raw, heartfelt, and authentic. He's poured his soul into the squared circle, leaving an indelible mark on the industry and earning a legacy that will forever echo for generations. Listeners and fans, I'd like to welcome to the show Deathmatch Hall of Famer, the Bulldozer, Matt Tremont. How you doing tonight, Matt?
I'm good. Those are some kind words.
I kept all the good ones in for you, bud.
Nice.
Yeah.
John, I'm sorry. Rose hopped in late. He asked, can you repeat all that, please?
Yeah, shit, right? I blew my fucking engine. That was it for the night. It's on you, buddy.
All right, Clown. Also, when he died, needs John to give his eulogy and list whatever accolades he had.
Hey, man, you know what? There's a lot of hard work that people do, and it just never gets put down into bullet points where people can really see how important everyone is and what they've accomplished over all this time.
And I thought I heard this at the beginning when you said it. We got to correct you. He's 36.
Oh, I thought he was 37.
I heard that in the background real fast, like 36.
Oh, I tried to age you, brother. All right, so now I think it's Matt's time to talk here. I'm going to start with our first question. So, Matt, you were old enough to experience the Attitude Era, ECW, WCW, the rise of deathmatch wrestling and its influence in New Jersey and the surrounding area. As a fan and wrestler, would you say you were born at the perfect time?
I'd say so. Yeah, toward the heart of the Attitude Era, as you said, and then once I started watching wrestling and found out about indie wrestling, CZW and NWA Wildside and countless others were on local syndication on Channel 48 here in this area. And I just dove in after that and then started going to CZW at the arena when I was, early teenager. Right, 2002 was the first time I went and saw CZW live. Main event was Lobo versus Wife Beater. Fans bring their weapons, and it's pretty hooked since. I was hook, line, and sinker early on, and I knew this is what I eventually wanted to get myself into.
Well, you definitely come across as someone who's a product of all of that wrestling that's come from that time, and it's almost like it spits you out into your teen years, and you just hit the ground running. Do you feel like if you were born 10 years earlier, you'd be a different wrestler?
I don't think so. I think like you said, I'm a very blended mix of, the time and area that I grew up watching, and then even before that, because I watched a lot of Memphis and World Class and a lot of old school stuff. So a lot of that's in me. So yeah, I think I'd still be the same. Still very very Memphis brawler, hardcore.
Yeah.
So it influenced me greatly.
So you had a backyard wrestling company, EZW. In 2006, you had your first taste of the wrestling business when you booked your own show. Could you take us back to the karate dojo in Mays Landing and talk about your memories of everything that happened that night?
Oh man. So so yeah, my the backyard company, Extreme Zone Wrestling. Obviously a fan of CZW, so we pretended we were like the sister promotion of CZW. And in 2005, 06, we would do it off and on. I didn't have very many friends that would do it, so a lot of times it was just me and my little brother beating the shit out of each other with light tubes. Eventually, I found a few more friends that were interested in doing it. And then this was in the days of MySpace, and one of our backyard events, someone within the pro wrestling business hit us up and asked us if they could film our backyard events. So they came and filmed the show, and that was kind of my first tie-in to the wrestling business. A guy named Dave, he was like the audio video guy, and would meet more people through him. And then I was like, oh, why don't we try to run a pro show? And I had no prior experience or knowledge at the time. I had no idea what I was doing yet. So they helped me out because like the first show, there was pro guys on it, there was backyard kids on it.
Oh yeah.
It was a mess. But at the end of the night, I would eventually meet my trainer, Primetime Amy Lee, who was in the crowd, who took the mic during the show at one point because one of the backyard matches was tremendously terrible, and so she started just shooting on it. It's on YouTube somewhere. It's pretty good. But after the show, she was she said seems like you want to do this and do it the right way. Come down to the Powerhouse Gym in Sewell, New Jersey, and come train. It was at Doc Diamond's place at the time, DWF, King Kong Bundy's old school, which was the
Oh,
Devastation Wrestling Federation that he took over from Bundy, from Atlantic City to Sewell, and then started training the next week with Amy Lee, and rest is history after that.
All right. So primetime Amy Lee. That was taught by Dick Murdoch.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough lineage, brother. Good for you. You know,
Yeah.
so proud. What are one of the things Amy taught you that kind of always stuck with you and will never change you?
Just big things, just respect and being respectful and just doing business the right way. No ego. Check it at the door. She's a tough lady. Nobody fuck with her at all.
Yeah.
She, no nonsense. So just she taught me the right things right from Jump Street. I remember my first day of training. I had a eyebrow piercing in, and as soon as I stepped foot through the ropes, she's like, "Take that shit out of your head. Never put it back in." She's like, no training with jewelry or anything like that. And yeah, she just instilled all the right things you need to put into a young eager kid that wanted to get into the wrestling business.
I like how she knocked you down a little bit too. We
Oh, yeah.
have expectations. It's not about yours.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to
go.
Go ahead.
Ask, what's one thing that you've kind of used from Amy into your training, or like your wrestling school?
Pretty much everything. I mean, from day one, when we had the school open and I started training them, first I would sit them down and talk about what they're getting themselves into, and what it all entails, how you got to conduct yourself, and what you need to do to be successful here and then outside of H2O. So everything she instilled into me, I instilled into them, in the time that we had the school open.
Let me give you a little background and the fans a little background, because we have a lot of hardcore guys that really know their shit here. So you were trained by Amy Lee, who was trained by Dick Murdoch, who was trained by Killer Carl Cox. There's a story about this guy. It's kind of famous. There was a fan that was giving him a bunch of shit. And usually, somebody'd come over, escort him out. He told him, put him in the back. He said, put him in a room in the back. I'll take care of him later. So after he went in, he said, don't open this door till I come out. 5 minutes later, he came out and that guy was on the floor, passed out, fucked up. It was one of those old school stories. Now, the guy who trained him, just for fun, is a guy named Ruffy Silverstein. He was from, he was a Jewish Russian who came to America, and he was one of the few people that protested the 1936 Olympics in Berlin from Nazi Germany, and also one of the first collegiate wrestlers to convert to pro wrestling. Kind of cool. Yeah. Murdoch was also trained by two others, Pat O'Connor, who was trained by Buddy Rogers, and his adopted father, Frankie Murdoch. So I didn't know this until now, but I guess Dick Murdoch was actually adopted.
Cool.
That's not a question, but I figured I'd tell you some shit. What's the most unexpected but useful piece of advice you've gotten from a veteran wrestler that stuck with you?
Oh. Probably that I still go by to this day, and Danny Havoc would say it's nice to be nice. That goes a long way. There's plenty of assholes in the wrestling business. I've been fortunate enough to do quite a lot. The talent is what it is in the ring, but I think at the end of the day, being a nice person has also got me very far and doing good business. So it's nice to be nice.
Now, in your first few professional years, it was like the non-hardcore death match, who brought out the most of you in the ring there? Those early years.
Probably my first notable feud that I had early on, probably like in year 3, it's like 09, 2010. I was wrestling at DWF, and I worked a Philadelphia veteran wrestler named the one and only Ron Starr. He was like my first big feud I had. Learned a lot from him. At DWF, we had like a year-long program that I was in there. They had a group, and I was in and out of their group, and built to a fans bring the weapons match. So that was kind of like my first hardcore match that I was eventually had, and that was not till like 3-4 years in. But yeah, Ron Starr for sure.
Now, is that relation to Addy Star that I was saying earlier that was in the stable or tag team you had there?
No
Okay,
relation. No.
yeah. So then I try not to ask questions you've had before, but I love this one. Who gave you the name the Bulldozer?
Oh, so again, back to my DWF days, when I was just working out there during the week. I met a gentleman named Jeffrey Kane, also known as Loudy, and he when he walked into the gym, I had a Hate Club shirt on. Obviously, big CZW fan, and he took a liking to me. And he was a manager at the time. And when I was done that feud with Ron Starr, he would become my manager. Uh, and at the time, he was like, what's your name? He didn't like it, and he's like, what's your shoot name? And I'm like, Matt Tremont. And at the time, was still rocking a flannel, bandana, and jeans. And he just said, you look like a bulldozer. And I've been Bulldozer Matt Tremont ever since.
May I ask what the name that he didn't like was?
Oh, so I was in the backyard. I was Matt Awesome, and I also used Matthew Justice.
Yeah, Matthew Justice, and then I'm guessing from Mike Awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so you worked for quite a few years in the more traditional style before you changed over to the hardcore deathmatch style. Do you recommend all wrestlers take a few years in the classic style before they become a deathmatch wrestler?
100%. Learn the fundamentals and learn how to work. Learn how to work the crowd. Tell a good story. Be a good, fundamentally sound wrestler. And then if this is something hardcore wise that you want to venture into, then do so. But I think it definitely shows who and who doesn't. But it'll definitely benefit you in the long run.
Now, I'm so sorry for this question, Matt. How has the deathmatch scene evolved since you started? I know that's a big question from the front to the back. So let's just stay in the wrestling ring and whatnot. I mean, what have you seen change over time? Weapons.
Yeah, definitely. The weaponry has changed. I mean, it's a lot of everything's been done a million times, so it's tough to innovate and keep things fresh and new. I think right now we're in a period of hopefully people and promotions trying to get more creative and do different things. We've had to do so at H2O in the last 6 months. We just did 1,000 carpet strip match. And I've always been about big spectacle matches. We did 700 light tubes a year and a half ago. So big matches like that. But yeah, the weaponry has changed. And I think overall seems like there's a decent crop of young up and coming guys doing it, which I feel like we didn't see for a while. But as long as they're going in there and trying to tell a good story and not just going in there hacking and slashing. But at the end of the day, I don't think there's anything wrong with that either, because there's a lane for that. There's a lane for the wrestling, very heavy portion of the matches, or just going in there and killing each other. There's a lane for it all. So I can't speak negatively on it, because I've had those matches myself. But as long as everybody's going in there and entertaining and the crowd's still receptive to it, obviously it's bigger than it's ever been, so there's a lane for it all.
The one thing that I've seen to me has been the level of wrestling. The classic wrestling in the deathmatch performers have went up. You'll see more wrestling than you would in, say, the first 10 years of CZW. You were just seeing more hack and slash over there. Over here, it seems like the men are more keyed to tell a story now, instead of just walking in the ring and I'm going to hit you with whatever I find to the left of me.
100%.
Okay. Now here's another one. What has been lost to time that you wish pro wrestling had back?
Oh, kayfabe.
Yeah.
100%. I'm not big on social media. Like, obviously it's a it's an important tool to have to promote yourself this day and age, but uh, having the door so wide open definitely takes away the magic. Everybody wants to know everything. Everybody needs to know everything, but they don't need and they don't have to know everything. And I feel like that takes a lot of away of what we do. I think it having exposure to the behind the scenes stuff and message boards and groups and stuff. Just a lot of negativity leads out of it. So I think at the end of the day, I think if there was a little bit more kayfabe and the illusion and the magic was still in the air, I think that would help at times.
So then my curiosity here would be something around the lines of how fans somewhat have these pseudo relationships with wrestlers. And I think sometimes that's how these fans can seep into the backstage or into relationships with the wrestlers. And that I think that's where some of the bleeding is. And again, that's coming from a guy who does a podcast, but I can say, I feel like that that relationship, I think, is what's causing some of this also. But unfortunately, I think at the independent level, it's all about personal connection. So you're kind of dealing with a balance there, right?
110%. I'm guilty of it as well. So it's just, really, connecting with people, make sure they're, good people. And if they're trying to transition from one side of the guardrail to the other, making sure their intentions are well and, knowing that, a lot of us paid dues and worked hard to get to where we are. And a lot of people, some like to just to sneak in and, then they're a part of it and they don't really have an idea of really what goes on and what people have, gone through and put themselves through to, really get where they are. But yeah, it's definitely that balance, as you said.
So let's jump to February 26, 2011, Carnage Cup 7. This is your first death match and the first time you wrestled Danny Havoc. Could you talk about his importance to your career? Because I know that is big.
I probably wouldn't be chatting with you gentlemen right now if it wasn't for Danny Havoc. Early 2011 kind of was a roller coaster of a lot of things happening very quickly for myself. I got a booking in New Jersey where I wrestled Wax, and Mr. Lauderdale was the referee, and that was the first time I met Brett. This was at a IWA Vintage show in Franklinville, New Jersey, at the Skating Center, and first real hardcore, / death match. And I was still very green at the time, only a couple years in, but I showed some promise, and they saw my willingness to do dumb shit. And Brett asked me hey, we're going to Carnage Cup next week. If you want to hop in the van, there'll be an opportunity for you. And my opportunity was working one of the best of all time in Danny Havoc in the first round. And we wound up having a great match that he carried me through. Took a superplex onto a shopping cart, and really the rest is history after that. He, Grant took a liking to me and was a big brother to me. And because of that match at Carnage Cup and Grant speaking highly of me, Brett and Smart Mark Gary of Smart Mark Video and countless others, that's what got me my job at CZW 4 months later. So I owe him everything.
So then we'll jump ahead. I was going to, June 11th, 2011, CZW Prelude to Violence 2, Asylum Arena in Philly. You jumped the guardrail in the same place you sat as a fan, entered the ring, fought against Pinky Sanchez. This was your debut at CZW and where your career in hardcore and deathmatch technically really started to skyrocket. 2 weeks later, you're appearing in Tournament of Death 10 against the likes of Masada and Necro Butcher. This kind of goes into what you were just saying, but looking back at those times, what do you think made you a standout at such a young age, especially?
I think at the time, it was definitely right place, right time. Nick wasn't around, and, a lot of the Deathmatch legends either, were slowing down or some guys, passed away. So there was definitely a void to be filled of someone new coming up the pike to, take the reins. And and the people knew me. Like half of that crowd would see me, sit there every month on the south side corner of the arena, and then 1 month later, I'm hopping the guardrail and getting in the ring. So, at local South Jersey boy, South Jersey, Philly area, a fresh face that was willing to go in there and do what the CZW fans wanted to see, and it was all that mixed together, and it was just a proponent that catapulted me very quickly at that time.
Now, I should have asked this earlier, but do you have any moves inspired by other wrestlers at all?
Moves?
Yeah, like did you take maybe the Brainbuster from Murdoch, or did you consider grabbing something from someone else just kind of as an ode to their work?
I don't think so. Any in particular? I mean, from day one, even in the backyard, the Death Valley Driver has always been my finishing move. From nobody in particular, but it was just my favorite move, and I've been doing that since, and it's got the job done at times.
You've been in 50 tournaments. Is there one that sticks out as especially violent to you?
Ooh.
I know there's a lot of those too.
Being at any of the Carnage Cups, they were always just crazy, over the top violent.
Yeah.
I mean, my first Carnage Cup was also the same Carnage Cup as the infamous box cutter incident. So I was there for that. I guess, man, really, any of the King of the Death matches, because those were 2-day events, sometimes going 3 and 4 rounds. So they're probably the most grueling physically, and at the end of the day, when those were all said and done. So I'd say the King of the Death matches I participated in.
Well, I'll tell you what, I've been deep diving a lot of the Deep South stuff, and those Carnage Cups are they're beautiful, beautifully violent, especially those early ones where they're still figuring out hardcore and deathmatch. Those are the fun ones, man. Let's see. Is there one performance or one tournament that sticks out to you that you're the most proud of?
Probably the first one I won, which was Masters of Pain. That meant a lot to me. A company and a promoter putting stock into you very early on to put you over and win one of their tournaments. And at the time, Masters of Pain was one of the top and premier tournaments in the United States. And I wrestled, Danny Havoc, and then wrestling Masada in the finals. It was a long day at the office, but a good one. The finals were brutal. I wound up getting concussed real bad and taking a spill out to the floor. Barbed wire broke and hit my head, and then finished the match. But it's just that's what we do. But that one means a lot. That one started it all.
I had a quick question to go back to, as you said, like the box cutter incident. As a wrestler and as a promoter, like what goes on in your mind when you hear a spot planned like that?
I'm not gonna shit on it, because I know in the deathmatch world, especially at that time, and even still now, people are trying to stick out and do something crazy and shock and all. And again, there's a lane for it. And they did it, and people were talking about it, and I guarantee you it sold a shitload of DVDs for Smart Mark Video at the time. So yeah, that's just it's a part of what we do. I'm not gonna knock it. I've done crazy things myself. I haven't got stabbed in the arm, but have done crazy things. But yeah, they did it, and people were talking about it.
Hell yeah, man. And what's wrong with that? You're trying to get attention, again, especially on the independent scene, man. Whatever gets the clicks, whatever gets people's eyeballs on you,
pushing the envelope too, especially
Hey, push that motherfucker, because we're still talking about a box cutter incident from look how long ago.
True.
Shock and awe, baby. June 13th, 2015. This is TOD 14. You become the first Grand Slam champion in a little over 4.5 years as a deathmatch wrestler. I'm just going to ask, you don't have to, but you can answer if you want to. Were you going into this tournament knowing you were going to win, or was the finish still in the air when you were booked and it was like, oh, hell yeah, here comes number 4 down the pipe?
I'm pretty, to the best of my recollection, I knew going in. Yeah. I know it was back and forth with going into it like a couple weeks of, but when I showed up that day, I knew I was going over.
I have to ask this too. How did it feel to achieve what you did in under 4.5 years so quickly? And how would you feel if someone in this generation could do that now?
It all came so fast. Yeah, like 2011, that 4 year span, uh, pretty nuts. And you know, you know, to be able to do all that at that point in time. Um, Again, that's why I'm sitting here talking to you guys today, because in that stretch of time, I was able to fortunate enough to do so much. Um, if someone did that now, it'd probably be a good thing. I feel like deathmatch wrestling needs that next big star,
Yes.
and I think there are guys out there that can do that and accomplish that and really build themselves up as one of the top tier echelon guys in the genre. So yeah, 100%.
And now this isn't one of my questions, but I have to ask. And I felt like I should have asked you about 5-10 minutes ago, but there was a time there where the new crop of deathmatch wrestlers come in was extremely thin. And I see we do have a couple of promising people rolling around in this last year or two here. The old school way used to be a little more tough on these guys coming into the school. Do you find now that the way training has been across wrestling, have there been more cooperative, trying to keep kids in, trying to show them that they are capable instead of maybe like military style, pushing them out the door because they're not? I don't know. I have a weird way of saying that. What I'm saying is, have people kind of softened up to allow more wrestlers to come into the independent wrestling scene?
100%.
Okay. Yeah.
And I was guilty of that too. Because I wasn't a drill sergeant, when I was training and we had the school open. I was definitely more a little laid back, but I definitely, pushed the fundamentals very hard, and ask Marcus Mathers how we trained.
Yeah.
That kid put the work in, and they were here 2-3 times a week when he first started out. It's definitely a little more lax now. You know, I don't know. I can't say that as well because I don't know how everyone else operates nowadays. I closed the H2O school a little over 2 years ago, and we had over 40 kids graduate, and which is main, and most of them now are main roster on H2O, and others working elsewhere and doing their thing as well. But ask any of the kids here, that they all came up the right way. They worked hard. you know Opportunities were provided and given for their hard work and dedication to it, and it's a testament to them at the end of the day, for that hard work that they put in. And it shows on our roster now, which is, we have a few veterans and left from the early days, but a majority of our roster is all the students that came up through this school.
I had a small bit of training and I was told that fundamentals are as important as a broken neck. You got to get it right, and that's all there is to it.
Mm.
So now you worked on the first Nick Gage Invitational. Can you give the story of how you got picked to give the bad news about Nick not being there? Because the speech was good. Like, how much time did you have prepared for something like that?
Not much. I remember sitting in a lawn chair, and Brett coming up to me and asking if I could do it, and I think Grant as well. And I said, "Yeah, no problem." I was probably the guy to make that statement at the time.
Yes.
And again, I don't mind doing those things. If I got to go out there and play PR and do what's best for everybody, I'll go out there and do it. And I did it, and that was really it.
Well, yeah, that could have fallen apart. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was between you and you said another. And you know what? Yeah, that you did a damn good job there. And you knew how to work the mic. That kind of helps too. And you worked the crowd a little nicely, and they got all whipped up and showtime. Ooh, this is a fun one. What does the perfect deathmatch venue look like to you?
Perfect venue?
Yeah, indoor, outdoor. How many people does it hold?
Oh, I guess not to be biased, but I like the, small compact environment. The H2O Center holds about 200 people or so, and everyone's right there on top of you. So I like the smaller venues. The outside tournaments are always cool, but yeah, it's small and compact. Fans are right there. Always a good atmosphere.
Now, I had asked a couple people this, a couple promoters. Have you found that there's a difference between summer ticket sales and winter ticket sales? Just overall, no numbers. Just have you seen there's more summer ticket sales or more winter ticket sales?
I would think so. I think we, for H2O, we do better in the winter and in the spring. People know there's no air conditioning. It's an old warehouse.
Yeah.
So it gets pretty hot in here. So the draws will be down at times, but I guess it all depends on the card and the matches that you're promoting and stories you're telling, because we've had good draws in the summer as well. So yeah, I guess all depends on what you're pushing and promoting.
Damn. I have to ask, is there any meaning to that entrance song you got? Because it's so fun and it just doesn't seem like it would be you, but it's an uplifting, fun thing.
Yeah. Let's see. I think 2014, I was having a match at CZW, a Tango Web match, and I was teasing going my separate ways at the time. I forget what the story, etc. was exactly. So going into that match, I was like, and then came across the song itself, Separate Ways. So I used that song literally just for that match in I think October of 2014. And then it kind of stuck and it worked. And now a few times over the years, I've changed it and people get very mad. So I try not to change it anymore. And yeah, I owe Steve Perry a lot. The Separate Ways has helped the Bulldozer tremendously.
So ZMZO asks, we need Bulldozer's top 3 Journey songs.
I'll be honest, I probably can't even name 3 songs. I know Separate Ways and Don't Stop Believing. That's all I know.
So then let's just say Brett can't find your song. What you using? What's your backup?
Probably Ozzy Osbourne, No More Tears, or Depeche Mode.
Didn't you use No More Tears?
I used that once, and then when I wrestled Pondo at the Showboat, I wrestled Depeche Mode. I think the songs, I forget what the damn song's called, but I used the Depeche Mode.
Didn't we have a different song with AJ Gray and his match in VXS, right? The Light did come out with a different song then too?
I think it was a G-Eazy song.
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
Okay, I have a question about your famous gear, the handkerchiefs. How many do you go through in a year, do you think?
Probably quite a few. So I'll just throw them to the crowd and give them away. And thankfully, they're pretty cheap. But yeah, probably thousands.
Where are you getting them at? Like Amazon or somewhere? Like in a bulk?
Usually Walmart.
Yeah. Do you have specific colors for specific reasons?
I think at times I've tried to match, but I have no sense of style whatsoever. But usually the go-tos are red, white, and black.
Nice. Here's some kind of awkward, but I'm just going to ask you here. Do you have any tips for traveling you'd like to share with anyone who hits the road for these shows? Like, do you know a good place at a gas station? Do you know where the good stops are somewhere? Do you know just how to pack your gear in a way where your fucking car ain't falling apart on the way to the show? You know?
I may be different compared to others traveling. Is usually I'm traveling with my wife and my dog. I travel light. Like I use a book bag for my gear bag now. I got sick and tired of carrying around a big old wheelie bag and all that. So I like to travel light. I travel with the wife and the dog. I don't drive. I've never driven a day in my life. So my wife does all the driving. That, God bless her, traveling. She's put as much miles on the road as I have over the years. But yeah, just I don't know. I sleep a lot in the car, so when
Sounds
we stop,
like find a driver is a tip there.
Yeah, if find yourself a good driver, or if your significant other's willing to sacrifice time and drive with you, God bless you.
Tremont's travel tips. You heard it here tonight.
Yeah.
H2O, founded in 2016 in Williamstown, New Jersey. Who could you credit for teaching you booking?
I would say a lot of the how I approach booking style, how I book match stipulations, shows, cards. A lot of it's influenced, obviously, watching ECW, CZW, uh, IWA Mid South, a lot of Memphis, a lot of NWA Wildside. All those combined into one were, what I enjoyed watching and my biggest influences, and you can see sprinkles of it in a lot of stuff we've done in the 9 years we've been operating.
Has any of your philosophy changed booking wise since you first started in 2016 to now? Because practice makes perfect. And I was just curious, how much does your formula change each card? 10%, 20%,
I don't think it's changed in particularly very much. It's always been up, in the beginning we used established talent and other local talent because we didn't have a roster yet. We were just a upstart independent, using who I knew in the area, that, had something to give in the ring and contribute. And once we opened the school 2 years later, I always knew that the goal was to, give them a lot of time they needed to train and grow as a performer and as a worker, and eventually they would be our roster, and which it is now. Sprinkled in with the few veterans that have been here since the early days, the Low Life Louis, the Bam Sullivans, Mouses, Kennedy Copeland. Like I said, our roster is all our students that came up here, and we'll still bring in some outside talent from time to time, but very, very homegrown roster. And, I watch what they're doing in the ring. I'm in Gorilla the whole show. I'm usually running the music if I'm not
Yeah.
wrestling. So I'm right there at the monitor watching. I'm listening to the crowd. I'll watch the shows back. So I'll see how they're developing, listening to the people, and go from there. And then, and a lot of it is too, are you not a headache? Are you, a good person? Are you, here to, be a part of H2O and do what you need to do? And hopefully what you're able to do at H2O, you're able to build your name and go to other places and continue to do that elsewhere.
So then it's also said that good bookers sometimes will not book their best ideas, but what they'll book is what the capability of the performers they have at hand are. A good example is you can't book a monster if you don't have a monster. So my question is, in the back of that head, do you have any ideas still sitting there and you're just waiting for the right wrestler to come along to use them?
I would at the moment where we're at as a company and what we've been presenting. I like the last 2.5 years of H2O have been my favorite of the 9 years we've been running. I know at different points in time, like me and Grant always talked about in the beginning, we always wanted a Cowboy as our heavyweight champion, and then when one called Manders was able to come to H2O and he was heavyweight champion for quite some time, that was something we always wanted to do. And he was an incredible champion and worked with all of our students here and had great matches with Austin, Luke, and others. And then so I guess that's one example that I can remember off the top of my head at the moment.
What do you think the best thing as a promotion you guys have done, like the most memorable thing the fans can say sticks out for you guys?
I think at the end of the day, like we're not the biggest promotion in the independents. I think people are very well aware of what we've done in 9 years. I've always credited ourselves as we are the local mom and pop corner store, and we have consistently run for 9 years, multiple times a month, here in Williamstown and in the South Jersey area. And we have, I don't think I can say we've never had a bad show, and we've consistently put on a good product that people have emotionally and financially invested, paying a ticket and coming to every month. So I'm very, very fortunate that we have a very, local diehard fan base. So I would say that'd be the biggest thing, at the end of the day, being able to, rock and roll for 9 years that we have.
Well, now this will be my last little set of questions, one or two, and then I want to get to some fan ones because I feel like the fans, yeah, definitely.
There's a lot of them. Yep.
B is over there, like, yeah. Okay, start from the morning of a show day. From the minute you pick up the phone and wake up and see all the bullshit trans issues, until the night when you close the door and sweep. Could you talk to us about what a show day looks like for Matt Tremont?
Usually, I mean, it definitely, the phone is definitely at my hip, waiting, because it's, the day of a wrestling show, anything can happen. People not being able to make it because of travel, or they get sick, or if something goes on in real life. So I became very equipped to that over the years. So like nothing will bother or shake me on a show day. I'm used to that stuff, because sometimes I'm waiting for somebody to not be able to come. You just get used to it, and it is what it is, and it's no big deal. There's enough people here to rock and roll, and we can switch things up and make things happen that we need to make happen to go on with the show. But it's I like having everything done, but pretty much a day of an H2O show, everything's already done. I'll be here during the week, and as far as like setting up the chairs, setting up merchandise, setting up the concession stands, putting all the names and stickers on the seats with the names for tickets, I do all that stuff, and I usually have it done well advanced in prior to the week, which is the advantages of having your own building. You can do all that stuff and get that stuff done. Because show days, I like to have it all done and not have to worry about doing any of that. And so no one else has to either. All the wrestlers can show up and not have to stress about the other things that they have to do. Everything's usually always done. We might have to build a couple gimmicks for some of the gimmick matches, but other than that, everything else is done. It's pretty laid back and chill and relax. And we just watch. I usually open up the building at like 3:30, 4 o'clock. Watch everybody file in, say hi to everybody, go over some stuff that we need to go over. 6:30, open the doors, and then we go live at 7. And then usually by the time the last person leaves, it's like 2 in the morning, and then we can finally shut off the lights and get out of here. But very smooth, simple, easy process, not stressful really at all anymore. Been doing it for so long, and everyone really knows what they're doing. And like I said, I try to get everything done well in advance, and it definitely helps out.
I assume you're going to win over a couple people tonight. So you may have a couple new people come to the show. I'm just wondering, do you take weapon donations from fans for your shows?
Oh yeah, if you bring them, we will use them. And even if there's been a lot of times where if we don't use them on one particular show, we will recycle them, and they'll get put in the back, and they will get used on another show. So if they don't get used on one, they'll get used on the next. But usually 100%.
Yeah, I'd run it across Demanto one time. I said, why don't you just do $20 a door? Let the fan write, of course, whatever they want to on it within reason. Dude, fans at home could Venmo $20 to you and go, look, write this person's birthday on the fucking door. $20 almost pays for a door in the right places. Not a bad idea,
Yeah.
Well, you know what I mean? These shows that you do are going to last forever. It's going to be cool for someone to see maybe their name on one of your shows 8 years from now. So I always thought of like, that's a nice little money maker there. It's just let people kind of, put a 20 on a door. You retire on October 30th, 2020 for various reasons. How long were you thinking about retiring before you did it? Because I kind of went back and listened to your story, and it feels like there was a slow burn, but it seems like it only took you so many months to really make that decision. How long did that take you?
I would say, well, I mean, the biggest component was Grant passing. And
Yeah.
that was in late May, early June, and I would say by August, I knew I wanted to be done for the time being. And then I think I officially announced it in September at one of our events, and then yeah, I quit the next month for a year.
And how did the people around you that are closest to you feel about that? You said this was kind of abrupt to the people around you, right?
Oh yeah, I didn't tell anybody. I didn't even tell my wife. I didn't even tell her when I first announced it on social media because I knew she would be very mad at me. Um, so yeah, nobody knew. To the
Cool.
best of my knowledge that I remember, I don't remember telling anyone.
How?
So
Oh, go ahead.
I just had a quick question around this time period of your retirement. So that's when the Cody Rhodes comment come out of he wanted to wrestle you in a death match.
Yes.
Can you kind of speak more a little bit about that and how it kind of felt watching Nick Gage get the match against Jericho on Dynamite?
So I obviously big old school wrestling fan. Dusty Rhodes, one of my favorites. Big fan of Cody and what he was doing at the time on the independents because a lot of this was before AEW was a thing. Uh, and then one of the things I'll always be known for is calling out Onita. And at the time, I was like, man, I maybe I should call somebody else out that I really wanted to work with, and Cody Rhodes was one of them. And we actually we did speak a little. I'll pull the curtain back here. I don't know if I've told the story ever before. When he was NWA champion, he was getting ready for I think the rematch with Nick Aldis at the NWA 73 anniversary or something like that. Ring of Honor was in Philadelphia at the time. I get a call from the powers that be that running the NWA at the time, and Cody Rhodes and Nick Aldis needed a place to work out their match, and they wound up coming here to the H2O Center and working out their match that they would have at the NWA here at the building, and we would speak, and I got a picture with Cody and Sully somewhere, but they were here, Nick Aldis and Camille and Cody Rhodes and his bodyguard and at the time we're all here. So it was definitely, we talked about it and discussed it. He definitely said at the time he was going to be busy and had some things coming up, but you never know. But um, wish it could have happened, but all good either way. Very very nice guy. Obviously, he's the king of the world right now, so it was pretty cool.
You know what? I said I was going to stop asking questions. You want to roll over to the Fansby? Oh, look at that.
Cody
Nice.
and Sully.
Oh, hell yeah.
So, well, I want to ask one quick personal question, and then I'll go to the fan ones. How was it seeing Nick Gage get that kind of death match with Jericho and using light tubes on national TV?
Oh, awesome! That opened doors for a whole scene to be seen worldwide. With Nick doing that match with Jericho, I remember a bunch of us came here to the H2O Center and watched the match on TV while it happened because we were just all pumped up that was happening. That was awesome. Nick's the man. He's obviously one of my biggest influences on me. And at the time, like I said, yeah, just open doors and for people to see that kind of violent wrestling on national television was a good thing for everybody.
That was a thing. I think fans were really hopeful it was going to be open doors, more independent talent coming in to show what deathmatch is really about and to show others that there is a place for this if it's done right. And again, this is where it takes someone like you, a storyteller, instead of someone just coming in and hacking, slashing on TBS one night. What other questions did you have there, B? I see 15 different statements at least.
Yeah, well, I'll see how much we
Yeah.
get through there.
Hey, you're loved, brother. It's gonna happen.
All right, Cody asks, are there any plans to take H2O on the road this year?
I know we hit the road last year at the tail end for the first time in many years. We've really only ever ran outside of Jersey. We ran Ohio in 2018. We ran at the Trenton Thunder Baseball Stadium a few years ago, and then last year we ran the TWE Arena in Tennessee. So that's always a viable option for us, and we did well down there that weekend. So nothing in particular at the moment, but definitely hopefully something else in the future.
All right, Ivan wanted to say hi. Funnily enough, even after all these years and the amount of video packages he's done for you, he still never met you, and he wanted you to know he's putting a lot into the package for you and Suzuki coming up. And your work means a whole lot to him. So I guess I will piggyback off that as a big Suzuki fan. Can you kind of talk about getting the match with Suzuki on Joey Janela's spring break?
First, Fire Jay, all his stuff is fantastic.
Yes.
I've been a big fan. In the last couple of years, I pretty much do all the video stuff for H2O. I make all the videos and stuff, and watching his stuff definitely inspires me. So I greatly appreciate his work and what he's done, and I look forward to seeing all his future stuff. The Suzuki match. That came out of nowhere. I found out that day a little earlier via text message, and then later that night it was announced. So yeah, it wasn't on my bingo card for 2025. I wasn't planning on going to Vegas, but now I am. I'm just going down for that one match, so I'll be there for Suzuki. I'm very excited.
I've been waiting to see you for, I'd say, a long fucking time, man. We live in Vegas. I'll be seeing you at the Collective, brother. At least I could do is shake your hand and thank you.
Awesome.
I was lucky enough to experience my first Matt Tremont match at Hammerstein here in Separate Ways. That was a fun surprise there. Here we go. Clown ask. Has someone suggested a spot or weapon in a death match that you instantly shot down and wouldn't do?
Ooh. I'm sure there's been something. Nothing's popping into nothing I can remember at the moment. I know that pretty much the only thing I haven't done that I'm not a fan of doing, that I don't think I'll ever do, unless the money's right, I guess, probably. But anything barefoot, I'm good. I ain't fucking with my feet. Other than that, I've pretty much done what you can, and I'm pretty much game for anything. I've had Kenzans in my head and countless other things. My head's been destroyed over the years, but nothing else in particular pops up to me.
So what is that last line? Is it the gussets, the Kenzan? What's the last line where you say, okay, I'm going to stop here when it comes to your basic deathmatch weapons?
Yeah.
So like Murdoch hates what was it? He said was it toothpicks? He don't like anything with toothpicks because he's got fucking toothpicks lodged in him still.
I thought it was syringes.
Somebody doesn't do syringes either. Dr. Redacted doesn't do syringes. The doctor doesn't like syringes. That's kind of funny.
I've never done syringes. I'm not the biggest fan of them. But I would do them. And then toothpicks do suck. I got hit with a toothpick baseball bat in King of the Death Matches 2011, and I had a whole toothpick lodged in the side of my head that was in there for about a year and a half. And when we were at a bar with Grant one night, it wound up finally working its way out, and it was completely black. A full toothpick in the side of my head. So I'm not a fan of them, so I'll pass on that. Anytime I see them now, I'm like, I'm good.
That's someone else's spot.
That's what the young kids are for.
Right?
Yeah, the young kids can do that.
ZMZO asks, any tips for someone looking to begin in-ring training?
Ooh.
Just find a good, reputable place, that has a good track record of, good people training that know what they're doing, that have had some success in the wrestling business, and just, look at the students that they've produced and that have gone there and that have, done good things out of that school. So just find a good reputable school that you can go to and hone your craft and learn the fundamentals, become the best worker you can, and then, train hard. And then after that, make the towns, get in the cars and travel and learn and train at other places.
All right. Do not fret, citizen asks. Matt, you're looking cozy as hell in that corner.
Right?
Also, was there a moment in your career that made you realize that you could be a good teacher?
Ooh. I never had any ambition to, but I know once we moved into Williamstown full time, it was more of a business decision at the time that I now had rent to pay every month, and I knew opening a school would help pay the bills.
Yep.
So it was a necessity that business wise that needed to be done, and it was something I was willing to do, and then became. I really enjoyed it. We've had multiple teachers here over the years. I was the more basic and fundamental, and then we've had others that would do more advanced things in the teachings. But I really enjoyed it for the few years that we were open here, and I'm just proud of all the kids that have come out of here and are doing things here and elsewhere.
So let's just talk. Would you do it again? 5 years, 10 years down the road, situations change. You're looking more towards retiring. You've hit fucking 2,000 matches already. Do you find yourself going, look, I'd like to really pass on my knowledge, because you're already there. You're trying to help the next generation. You're pushing the new cats forward. Do you see yourself getting hungry and maybe getting deeper into training or booking, or where do you see yourself maybe 10, 15 years from now?
I think all those could be possible options. I mean, I would definitely train a beginner's class. I really like starting them, when they first start out and, building those bricks and that foundation from the ground up. I mean, I've never booked anywhere else besides H2O, and when me and Loudy, I ran On Point Wrestling before H2O as well. That would be something I do, or anything backstage, but definitely once the in ring, starts to slow down. Any of those options, if I can still be involved in the business and help out with, whether it's just training or behind the scenes, that'd be pretty cool.
I had one question because this is a personal question, and I think this is the first time we've had like a trainer on. How does training deathmatch wrestling differ than training traditional wrestling? Like as a teacher, as like a trainer.
I think at the end of the day, a good majority of my students that came here because of who I am, and they wanted to get into hardcore deathmatch wrestling. Probably a good chunk of the kids that came here. At the end of the day, as far as and they knew right from Jump Street, they were not doing anything hardcore deathmatch until they were, ready. And really, that was, we have a couple, Anthrax and Alex Stretch are, two of our, true hardcore guys that came here because they wanted to do hardcore and deathmatch wrestling. But, they worked regular matches and honed their craft to become a good wrestler and worker for the first couple of years. I don't think I've ever, I don't know, as far as like training for hardcore matches, like it's it's advice. It's showing them how to do things safely and properly to keep themselves safe and the person they're working with safe to the best that they can. Obviously, we're going in there already and doing damage to each other, but there is a finesse and style, and
Yes.
that you can do this safely, and go home to your families at the end of the day. That's the most important thing. So I don't think and a lot of things they just you pick up and and if they do them wrong, okay, don't do it that way, swing it this way, stuff like that. But there's never been a, hey, tonight we're bumping on light tubes. There's never been anything like that. No.
So I was just wanting to let you know, because we were going through fan questions, but I had a golden opportunity here. We've spoken to Murdoch, we've spoken to Brendan Kirk, we've spoken to Dr. Redacted. We asked them all the same question. You have a little kid one day and you want to get him trained and you want to put him in deathmatch, where are you sending him? I want you to know that every single one of those people without hesitation said they sent him straight to you.
Oh, I appreciate that. That's very cool.
Yeah.
And that means a lot. I think at the end of the day, anyone that has come through these doors, Marcus Mathers can tell you, and he's dabbled his foot in the hardcore and death matches at times, was just becoming a sound, fundamentally good professional wrestler here, knowing how to work in and outside of the ring, work the crowd, and then as far as the hardcore stuff, like I said, just doing it safe and doing it the right way. And I know I can. My guys have gone out there and have taken care of each other and taken care of the person they're working with, to the fullest of degrees. So, and I take great pride in that. So I appreciate hearing that. Thank you.
Oh, for sure. I just wanted to let you know that the people who are amongst your peers who you respect and they respect you back, I just wanted to let you know, man, that's badass. All right. So were there any other questions, B? I just wanted to break in just for that second to just tell him something that there's no other spot for that.
No, you're good. I was, yeah. Havoc asks, besides Onita, what are some of your favorite deathmatch hardcore wrestlers of all time?
Oh, Mick Foley, of course, Terry Funk, Kevin Sullivan, and Abdul the Butcher. And Nick Gage. That's my Mount Rushmore, I guess.
Connor always has the good questions over here, so I'm going to get him back to back here. Connor, oh, sorry. First, I want to let you know, real hero of his, and inspire him every day to be who he is and continue to fight hard. And that good work does pay off. He appreciates you, and he comes in with. You remind him a lot of old Southern wrestling, and I know Kevin Sullivan was a big influence. How big of an influence was Southern wrestling on you? I know we kind of hit it earlier, but maybe if you want to speak on maybe Kevin Sullivan or some more on the Southern wrestling influence.
Yeah, I just when I started watching wrestling and then ventured out to, tape trading and just watching any wrestling I could set my eyes on, just Memphis wrestling in particular, and NWA Wildside down in Cornelia, Georgia, and the little building they ran out of. I don't know, just resonated with me very early on, and I just it was a big reason why I really enjoyed going down to TWE in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and why H2O ran there last year. I love Southern wrestling. I love the crowds. Less is more down there, and you could really just old school, old time storytelling, pro wrestling, good guy, bad guy, and they're reacting and to what you're doing in the ring. And I guess not nothing in particular, just all of it. All of it I love.
You're muted, John. Got the mute bug. First one tonight.
All right, here. Okay, so Matt, let's pretend you're walking around the corner of your building and sitting there is 16-year-old Matt Tremont. You get a chance to go over to him and sit down and say, son, let me tell you some things. What would you tell him?
Yeah, just keep doing what you're doing. It's like when I was, when I was a senior in high school, 16, 17, and I dropped out of high school my senior year. I knew I wasn't going to be a 9-to-5 person, and I knew what I wanted to do was, be a professional wrestler, and just I don't know. I knew it was going to happen, and I did it. So if I had to see myself now, all them talking to my younger self, I just stay on that same trajectory. And everything happens for a reason, and the people I've met and human beings I've encountered with in the 18 years in pro wrestling all happen for a reason, and this one thing led to the next thing and the next thing after that. So I get it. Yeah, it all happened. And, just stay on that same track, and, good things will come.
Love it. Love it. Do you have any more fan questions before I move on? Cause I hate breaking in there.
Okay. You're good. I got 2 more from Connor, and then a couple more after that. Not too much more.
Okay.
Connor asks, how does it feel to be an important figure in ICW No Holds Barred?
ICW's. Oh, you know, Danny's always booked me well. I've had a lot of fun, a lot of really good matches there with a lot of different people. I probably wouldn't have had the chance to work, you know, elsewhere. You know, obviously they're you know, one of the premier deathmatch companies in the United States, and you know they draw good crowds and live, and they just just in Boston a couple weeks ago. You know the he has his vision of the chains, and you know obviously a diehard following, and yeah, I've had some very you know a lot of memorable matches and moments there, and you know and more to come.
Do you see you both ever doing somewhat of like a double show somewhere or somehow where like you both go in on a building and just split costs is what I'm saying. Is that
Yeah.
possible down the road maybe?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I don't think it's ever been discussed. Uh, but I never know. I'm open to anything.
Yeah. You know. I don't know. I just thought it was kind of a cool idea. You're melting, you know, two very great groups together there. And you know, if you can work the fans for one night on this versus this, you can have a lot of fun there.
100%.
Connor asked kind of what you were talking about. How would you describe your relationship with Danny
Wow.
DeMonto?
I've known Danny for a long time. You know, going back to the Jack Sabbath days of you know, ICW. You know, working different places in North Jersey, New York, and then obviously like JCW, and then early GCW. He always been good to me. You know, books me well, takes care of me. You know, so he's always been good in my book.
Necro Eric asks or says that flaming light tube you took from Onita looked brutal. How painful was that compared to other stuff in your career?
Oh yeah, that was pretty wild. That whole match was wild. I was obviously burned and lit on fire multiple times in that match. The probably yeah, being lit on fire and having burns, you know, across my body. That's the most painful thing I've ever had to endure, in the craziness I've done all these years. I don't wish that burn pain on anybody. That sucked. I sat in a burn unit in a hospital for a week and a half. Uh, in a hospital, I didn't even know where it was. 'Cause after the show, Jeff Cannonball and his wife drove me in a car to a local hospital, and then I got
Wow.
taken to a burn unit. I think like an hour and a half, 2 hours away, and sat there for a week and a half recovering. I don't wish that on nobody. But
Son of a bitch.
getting lit on fire and burned sucks.
I didn't know it was a week and a half, dude.
Oh yeah,
Oh my goodness. If anybody's ever been in a burn unit, dude, you don't want to be there. And the pain is intense.
yeah.
Holy, there's a reason why they have specific units for this type of treatment. I'm not kidding. So,
All right, two more.
what
Sorry, we
else?
got two more
Two more?
good questions. Yeah, but then
Perfect.
we'll go back to
And then some
yours.
bullshit questions, right?
And then I'll get some more fan questions saved up for the end here. William Bruno asks, who in your opinion are the best female deathmatch wrestlers?
Ooh.
I mean, top two are Lufisto and Mickey Knuckles of all time, 100%. I'm always been a big fan of both. I think then in more recent years, obviously Sawyer Wreck and Casey Catal, um, and then you know the ladies of H2O that have you know been here doing their thing. Kennedy Copeland and Jess Moss and Lady Blakely. But countless others, but those are the ones that come to mind. But yeah, as far as the goats, Lufisto, Mickey Knuckles, and then I guess overseas wise, Megumi Kudo was one of my favorites. She's one of the, you know, she took all those exploding no rope barbed wire matches in Japan. Like she's one of the best. So yeah, definitely those people.
It's a strong list right there too.
Also, I don't think he's met Rena yet one-on-one. I think that needs to happen sometime
Oh
soon.
yeah, Rena as well. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, last one, and then we'll go back to John's questions. Jim asks, any non-traditional deathmatch moment or match you are particularly proud of?
Have to think. I've only had a handful. I feel like most of my career has been If you see a match of mine, I'm usually bleeding. Um, Good wrestling matches. Often, probably a majority of my IWTV independent title run, where I was able to showcase more of a wrestling side with me. I had a good match I had with Brogan Finley, the bounty hunter Brian Keith. Um, yeah, it's just, really any of those matches I had with my WTV title run. Very, very proud of those matches. I wrestled Adam Priest, who's one of the best in the game, to win that title. So yeah, lot of really good wrestling matches from that run that stick out to me at the moment.
Mm. All right, so now I feel embarrassed. I'm going to go back to my side of the questions here. We were in the retirement phase here just for a minute. How long did you really feel you were going to stay retired before you came back? Did you really feel like, hey, it's over? Or did you go, you know what, I'm going to fuck around for 2 years and, heal up? You know what I mean? Heal up, get everything back in order, get the money back, get a nice car, get a little house, once you're set up, go, you know what, I'm ready to get back to business kind of thing.
At the time, I honestly had no intentions of coming back until I got a call from Onita 2 days before my birthday in 2021, to eventually set up that match in October, at the baseball field. So I was maybe 6 months into retirement when he gave me a call, and then the talks continued throughout the course of the year, and then eventually we had that match. But I was in a bad place at the time and really had no intentions of wanting to come back. And then towards the end, I mean, the only thing I was still running running H2O shows and training my students, and they definitely reinvigorated my spirit over time, over the course of that year of wanting to come back. And I'm glad I did. And but I needed to quit for that year. It was just good for me mentally and physically. I needed to. And then honestly, coming back a year later, I think October 2021, I felt like as a performer, I was, before retiring and then after retiring, 10 times better than what I was. But the year off was needed.
With that time off, did you find that when you came back, your level of appreciation for what you do has come up some, knowing that you've got to really savor what you've had a taste of the rundown in retirement, and you've got to be like, I don't like my wind down in retirement. I got to do this better. Like, I don't know. I had to ask you about that.
I mean, I've always been very appreciative and grateful for what I've been able to do. And I'm just a kid from South Jersey that wanted to be a hardcore wrestler, and I've been able to do things far that exceeded any of my expectations that I ever had on myself. Been able to travel the world and do very many cool things. So I've always been very humble about that, and then can continue to be even humbled as the years go by. That I can still do this at a high level. People are still hitting me up to get booked and using me after all these years. So yeah, I appreciate all that, because it all could end tomorrow. So health wise, physically and mentally, I'm the best I've been in a couple of years, and I feel great. So I'm very thankful for that, and that's also having good people around you to support you, and that want to see you do good and succeed in and outside of the ring. So yeah, I'm just life always humbles you and keeps you going. So it's definitely been my case as well.
I just now realized not only were you kind of born at the perfect time, but you were born at the perfect place. If you would have been born in California, most of this would have never happened. You had to be in that Jersey, So you come back from retirement earlier than you expected, exactly 1 year and 1 day later. Also that was 4 years and 4 days ago, if we're looking at numbers. You had that exploding barbed wire match. We already talked about how that idea turned to reality. What parts of the pro wrestling business would you like to bring from Japan to America?
I feel like I was able to integrate a little bit of that into the school. Just very the the especially like the Japanese, the in the school or the promotion as a whole, very family oriented. There's no, there's no Roman Reigns or John Cena. I feel like, and not to say anything bad, but it's a collective unit. Everybody works together. You got, when I was over there in Japan, Jun Kasai was, helping break down the ring and put the ring in the elevator to go down to the truck, and just, very, very, very family oriented and one, to help each other, do what they need to do. And so I just, if I had to integrate anything from Japan that we, tried to do our best here, was that, H2O, big family, and, everybody's working together for the common cause, and, to put on the best shows we can, and enjoy our times, at the shows, that we can, to the best of our abilities.
So now I'm going to flip it. What would you like to bring from America to Japan?
Nothing. Japan's perfect.
I think Japan would say the fans. I think, yeah,
that.
the money. They want the American money,
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Who's the one person in professional wrestling you'd love to sit down and talk to, living or dead, and what would that conversation be about?
Ooh. These are good questions. I've briefly spoke to him once or twice, and just for a few minutes, but never, in elongated form, or to sit down one-on-one, and probably not even talk about wrestling, but just life and ventures outside of life. Probably be Mick Foley. He was the first person he was like my first big star as a kid that I gravitated towards, that I just watched religiously and enjoyed everything that he did. And I feel like a lot of his ventures and what he's into outside of the ring are same things I'm into as well. So just to talk about, life and stuff like that. But yeah, Mick Foley, 100%.
His work at FMW is what got me hooked on hardcore and deathmatch, man. Tape trading, old school tape trading. Did you ever do tape trading?
I was at the tail end of it.
Yeah.
But I remember trading. One of the first tapes I ever got was a Best of Taz, an ECW compilation. And I wish I still had it to this day, but I don't have it anymore. But yeah. Very little of it towards the tail end of it. But Best of Taz was one of my first tapes I ever got.
Dude, I could see you and Taz kind of being right there, like right up against each other kind of thing. That would have been someone that you could have adopted quite a bit of shit from if you wanted to.
Taz was great. Definitely one of my favorites as well. He was just no nonsense. I before I was smartened up to the business, I thought he was a legit shoot fighter, and
yeah,
he was just great. Taz was great. He was very, very believable.
Taz was my favorite in ECW.
Really? I didn't know that.
Huh. I like the style, like the little tough guy. The style, I enjoyed him a lot.
I'm a problem. I thought fucking New Jack did it. It was the music and the violence. Like it was a nice 1-2 punch. And I think any crowd could like it. You didn't have to know him, and you felt like you knew him after 3 minutes. Are there any newer deathmatch wrestlers that fans should look out for?
Oh. I guess I have to be biased here, and the guys that have come up through here, that have made a name at H2O, that I still are more than ready to venture out to other promotions and do the things, and they have been able to a little bit, but I think that a lot of them are just waiting for that opportunity outside of here to really, get their name on the radar. And that's Alex Stretch and Anthrax and Declan Grant, Brax, JB Anderson, all the hardcore guys that are here at H2O. They have, really become themselves here and honed their craft here and are getting better, and they're all young and getting better and better and better. And they're more than ready to for opportunities, elsewhere.
Hell yeah. I love that answer, dude. And it's good to see someone's putting effort into that. Cause again, we're just not seeing as many as there's no 2003 influx there. You know what I mean? We're just not seeing that group come through. Who on the ECW roster would you have loved to fight in their prime?
Oh.
Who do you think matches up with you?
Bam Bam Bigelow would have been cool. I guess that, 98 Bam
dude.
Bam. I mean, I've been fortunate enough. A majority of the bigger names that I have worked in the business have been ECW guys, much later in their careers, of course. But I've worked Just Incredible, New Jack, Tommy Dreamer, Balls Mahoney, Blue Meanie, and we've had a lot of great fun matches and moments with those guys over the years. But yeah, Bam Bam would have been cool. Always wanted to get Grant always wanted me to get my head tattooed
Flames.
like him. Oh yeah, but
Yeah.
the wife wasn't like that.
Yeah, stories of not getting tattoos because wives wouldn't like it is pretty prevalent, I think, around the world there. Who are some wrestlers from the old days you would have liked to have wrestled? Let's take ECW out of it, WCW, WWF, WCCW, some of those older ones. Do you have somebody you'd like to have, danced with once or twice?
Buzz Sawyer.
Wow.
Let me try to think.
Do you think you would have fucked with Murdoch if Murdoch came out to fuck with one of his students?
Oh yeah, all them guys. Yeah,
Yeah.
Big Murdoch. Trying to anybody from the territory days, really. I would have loved to.
Gosh, who's the guy? Oh, this is really embarrassing. The gentleman that got killed in Puerto Rico. Well, that doesn't narrow it down. Oh shit. From the
Bruiser Brody.
Bruiser Brody. I think you and him would have had fun because you're both masters of the emotion side of it. Mm-hmm. He could have stirred up one way, but I feel that you could have really stirred up another. And I think you two would have.
Brody was awesome.
The promos back and forth too would have been, fucking beautiful. When Abdullah the Butcher gave you that fork, were you surprised that you hear that you were the Black Abdullah the Butcher?
I think everybody was.
Yeah.
But I loved it. He's the best. Obviously, big influence on me, and it was very cool. I got to be a part of that and induct them. Something I never thought I'd do, and then I am the Black Abdul the Butcher, and it's gotten over. I scream it every match now when I bring the fork out. But now it's awesome. I love it.
So you guys didn't talk about that ahead of time?
Not at all.
No. See, that would have been funny as fuck if he pulled that rug out from under you live.
That was great, man.
Dude, commentary was laughing, fans were having a good time.
I'm enjoying myself, Reed. Leave me alone over here, man.
Is there something about you that you wish people knew better and you'd like to set straight? That's a rough one, man. We're hitting the psychiatrist couch now.
I don't know. I mean, knew better.
Yeah, are you're not misunderstood in any way, I'm guessing. I mean, you got a lot of heart and your fans know that. So
yeah.
You're an open book.
I don't think so. I mean, I'm at the end of the day, I'm pretty private person. I'm very low key, chill and relax. I don't do much outside of wrestling besides watch sports and stand up comedy. I keep to myself. I'm a very, very quiet and reserved individual. Just gracious towards anybody I come encounter with, and appreciate the fans and everybody. And I think anybody who has seen or met me or knows of me, that is the genuine Matt Tremont they are getting 24/7.
Fucking love this. Okay, so is there any other fan questions, Brant? Because after this, we can go to fun questions, and we're on Matt's time after that kind of thing.
Yeah, I just want real fast before I get to the fan questions. Marcus Mathers being WWE ID'd. Can you speak more about kind of his growth and his possible rise up to the WWE program?
I have known little Marcus Mather since he was a baby. My wife used to babysit him and wipe his ass. Uh, I've known him and his father for a very long time, 15 plus years. He's such a good kid. Um, I think we always had an inkling he was going to be involved in it. He was always come to with his dad at the shows, and when he was ready, he came right here and started training. Kind of always knew he was the one that had the extra gumption to, put in the extra work to really do something with this. You could tell he was the one that wanted more than just what the independents are going to offer. He wants to take the next step and make a career and of this and make a full-time living doing it, and he's doing great. Couldn't be any more proud of him. The kid keeps a busy schedule. He's working his ass off right now, and it's much deserved. He has put the time and the effort in, and it's showing, and is part of the WWE program, and sky's the limit for him. The only thing I would tell him if I seen him right now is to because I know he's anxious and he just wants everything to happen now. He's doing everything right that he needs to do right now to keep those eyes that are on him right now on him. So he doesn't need to rush. He doesn't need to do anything differently than he's doing. He just needs to keep putting in the work, keep traveling, and work as much as he can, and still learn the business and be a sponge and absorb it all. And he'll be on WrestleMania one day, 100%.
That's everything I think a student would ever want to hear from their teacher. I'm guessing you wrestled Dark Angel a couple times.
Yes.
Yeah, I kind of had a feeling there. B, it looks like we have a couple more questions, roughly. Does that sound right?
Got a couple more here. Connor Meeks this time. Huge fan. Looking forward to seeing you at the showboat this weekend. What advice would you give on how to get involved? I know earlier you said in the ring, but this one says behind the scenes.
I mean, if it's something you really want to do, just obviously got to reach out to the powers that be, and then show up and help out. Even in the beginning, it was just setting up chairs and setting the ring up. That stuff goes a long way. Just helping without even being told. People will notice it, and the right people will notice it. I've booked people here at H2O that I didn't even see wrestle before, just because they were coming here and helping and showing up. I would give them an opportunity, and then it's up to them in the ring to prove that they have the talent to continue to get booked from there. Then there's people here now that I didn't even see wrestle that just helped and showed up and got an opportunity, and now are working shows and doing good things. But yeah, doing that goes a long way, and then obviously showing your pursuit and interest to the right people that it's something that you want to do behind the scenes, whether it's camera work or vice versa or whatever. So yeah, just show up, show face, and put a little work in and keep a smile on your face and help out. It goes a long way.
Nice.
Necro Eric once again asks, where did you get that move where you hit your head on the turnbuckle and flat back with your arms in the air? It's one of the most entertaining spots.
Oh, the timber.
Turnbuckle to the, yeah.
Yeah. The slow bump. I'm not sure. Maybe watching a Mr. Fuji bump or somebody did it. I forget off the top of my head, but I love doing that sell, and in the right situation it works. I'll use it. I'll use it a few times, but I love doing that bump. I love selling. Selling's a lost art. I especially in death matches. Even an oversell. As long as you're fucking selling, 'cause not enough selling's done today to really show that physical pain that you're going through. So if there's anything that I've been, I'm not the best technical wrestler in the world, but I don't need to be at the same time. But I can sell well, fight from underneath, be an underdog, and tell a story. Doing those things.
And your timing of finding the camera and your facial reactions to
Bingo.
portray that is, we've talked about that many times here. Like when that close up is, you tell a great story of that. And we always say like more wrestlers need to start doing that as well.
I appreciate it. Yeah, we're live for a reason. Definitely advocate to those cameras. They're there. You got multiple roam cams and a hard cam, and biggest advice, because I don't do a lot in the ring, but I've slowed down even more. But less is more, and slow down. Hit a move, sell, work the crowd. You don't got to go into the next move, into the next move, into the next move. I know it's a faster pace sport now, but not everybody has to do it that way, and I don't do it that way, and it works for me. Just slow down and let things register, and let all four sides of the paying customers see what you're doing, and at home on live streaming.
So then I have to ask you here, and this is another tricky one. What year do you think because again, we had the pacing of the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. What do you think was the best years or generation where there was an equal and proper balance of selling and also being able to, gosh, I'm trying to find a word for it. Man, I'm having a hard time tonight all of a sudden here. Well, you were saying how people aren't selling like they were again, and the action has been fast paced. What I meant to say is was there a perfect time where the action was the perfect balance with the selling? 90s, I think, like late to mid 90s, maybe.
I would say that, and like even early 2000s, I think guys were just selling a bit more. I guess more than, I don't know if decade basis, but I guess more of an individual basis. Like Terry Funk's a great seller, and then just I don't know. It helps so much, and you're in there to make each other look good. And my job is to go in there and accentuate what the other guy, what they're doing, and to sell what they're doing to make it look believable and even better. And me doing those timber sells or other kind of sells is only making the move he just did that much better, that much more impactful and physical. It's a dance at the end of the day. We're I'm not in there to try to get myself over. I'm already over, and that's because of the body of work over 18 years. My job in there now is to make the other guy look good, so we can continue to do good business and have good matches. So he keeps getting booked, I keep getting booked, and people keep buying tickets.
That was good. Well said there.
I had to stop right there. That was okay.
Connor Stanberry, kind of with the two. Oh, we'll go one at a time here because they are separate. What was it like to see Crowbar versus Manders in your building in ICW for the H2O title?
Oh, that was sick. Manders is fantastic, and congrats to him winning the 16 karat over in Germany.
Yes.
Excuse me. And Crowbar is awesome. Another veteran of the business. I'm actually working him later this year at the ECW arena, so I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, Crowbar is great. He's fantastic, man. And they had a great match in the chains here at H2O.
Connor asked, kind of what we were talking about the spots earlier. What is it like to take a Remington Roars machete?
It's a machete. Yeah.
I was interested to see how that answer would be.
Remington Roar is awesome. He's one that's very underrated that I doesn't think gets enough love. But he's very good. He's a throwback too. Remington Roar is one that reminds me of a wild Bruiser Brody. He's very good, and I hope to see him do more. In the future.
David Glenn from X. Question for Tremont. Your match with John Wayne Murdoch at Homecoming in 2022 is one of the best he's seen live, and the crowd's energy in the match was crazy. Where does the Showboat rank for you in venues that you like to perform in? Maybe we should kind of clarify that. Terminal or carousel room?
I appreciate it. I've been having matches with Murdoch for years. I don't think we've ever had a bad match. We have very good chemistry with each other, and a lot of it we don't call. We just go out there and feel it, and that's my favorite, part of being able to go in there with somebody that you have good chemistry with, and feel it out there. That match in particular was very good. The showboat, and the carousel room. That was a special time and place. I like the terminal. It's a different vibe and atmosphere, but I don't. It's tough to compare to the carousel room. Many matches and moments in there. It had a vibe, and the terminal has a vibe, but carousel room is special.
All right, and last one, Cody Hewitt asks, what are your thoughts on your death match with Ricky Norin at Time Bomb Pro in 2023?
I had a lot of fun. That was my first time in Fargo, North Dakota. Me and my wife went up there. She drove the whole way, like 20 something hours nonstop. So she gets a lot of the praise for making it up there. But Ricky Naran, he's another one, very underrated, a great gimmick, great character. We had a fun little easy death match out there, and Time Bomb Pros, another promotion. I know the promoter Eric well. He's got a really good thing going on out there, and something that's unique in that area. And they run a good ship. I enjoyed my time and that match at Time Bomb Pro.
I got one last question before we get into the fun part here. Hammerstein this year, can you explain winning the Ultraviolent Championship there, and what can we expect from you moving forward in GCW as our Ultraviolent Champion?
Hammerstein was cool. I really got to take it in more this time. Last time was a big surprise and getting ushered in, secretly and all that. So that definitely got to take in the venue a little bit more and enjoy it. It's probably something else I didn't have on my bingo card this year. Right now, going into 2025 and where I'm at, in the business and my career, GCW is top priority. And you're going to be able to see me a lot more, traveling again and hitting the road and, doing a lot more shows with GCW. But being the Ultraviolent Champion, you take a lot of great pride in. It's, being one of the OGs that have been there, as you said earlier on, since day one in that parking lot in Warren, New Jersey. My goal right now is just to, defend that belt. I'm looking forward to the match with Beastman. That's my first title defense with the title since I won it. So I think people I'm excited. I'm ready to bleed and get violent, and haven't done glass and
be ready to work.
Yeah,
be ready to work.
100%. Give us two big men beating the hell out of each other. So
Yes.
I'm looking forward to this weekend and repping GCW, being the Ultraviolent Champion that I can be. The spring and summer of violence is upon us. So I'm excited. I'm ready to go.
I like the sound of that right there.
I like that a lot, actually. Oh, okay. So we'll go into fun questions. Like I said, we're on overtime at this point. If you have a couple more in you, you can always tell us, and we'll cut it off and stop there. Okay, you mentioned a dog. How many pets you got? 1, 2, 1?
Just Sullivan, aka Sully. He's here. Come here, Sully.
Yeah.
Clown wants to know, how does Sully react after
he's seen everything.
After a death match.
Come on. See if we can get up here. There he is.
Hey.
Oh man.
So Sully's 7 now. We've had him since he was 5 months old. He has seen a whole bunch. It doesn't faze him at all. He's walked. His paws have walked through glass and tacks after shows, and he comes to the shows with me. Like at ICW in Boston a couple weeks ago, he's with me in the locker room the whole time. He's very chill, calm. He's more over than me, but he's a good boy.
Well, Sully said he could stretch cruel, so I figured. Let's get back here. So we got the pets. You were talking about sports. Do you have a favorite sport and sports team?
Oh, all the Philly teams, Sixers, Flyers, Eagles, Phillies. I watch them all religiously. My favorite sport is basketball. So I'm watching NBA games all day. So yeah, big basketball fan. March Madness is coming up, NBA playoffs coming up. So that's what I'm tuned into pretty much.
MB shut out for the year, right? Is that what I just heard?
Yeah.
It's gonna be rough watching those games the rest of the year.
Oh yeah, our season's done.
Room for the losses for the draft pick.
I shouldn't have sprung this on you, but now's a good time. Do you collect anything, and do you have anything you'd like to show and tell us?
I used to have a lot years ago. I used to run a wrestling collectible store.
Yes.
Bulldozer's collectibles inside the Berlin Flea Market. We were open for 3 or 4 years, selling nothing but wrestling action figures, tapes, posters, you name it. We had it all. Indie stuff, WWE. But that was a period of time that came and gone. I've downsized a lot. I mean, most of what I have here in my office, just a lot of mementos of matches and pictures and posters from stuff over the years. Um, I think action figure wise, I have a signed Abdul the Butcher figure,
Oh, nice.
A signed Kevin Sullivan figure, and then most of it's just pictures and posters, just you matches and moments and memories I've had over the years.
What's the most memorable gift you've received from a fan?
A whole lot. And a lot of that stuff I still do keep. Like I got a lot of, there's a lot of hand drawn pictures of my ugly mug over the years. I keep all that stuff. Probably the most recent one, this poster right behind me.
That thing is signed.
Yeah, this is the documentary Barbed Wire City that was made by John Filipovich. Produced that documentary. He's a good friend of mine. Works with IWTV, so he's here always running the switch when we're for our live shows. But I'm a big documentary fan in general. To me, that Barbed Wire City documentary is one of the best wrestling documentaries and ECW documentaries, in my opinion, that's been made. So he gave me one of those release posters and signed it for me. So that's one of my cooler, more personal things I'll always have.
And there's not enough wrestling documentaries made. No shit. There's so many stories that are just never told. Period. Someone can have a 30-year career, and 40 years later, no one knows their name. And there goes all their experiences, all their stories, and everything they've done over all those years. So I really do wish there was a greater focus on the lives of some of the gentlemen who've done this.
For sure.
Havoc chimes in there with a good question. Matt, what do you think of the Kenny Johnson documentaries he did on you?
They were fantastic. Kenny's another one. All his work was great. He did quite a few things on me and many others over the years. I don't think he got enough love for a lot of the work that he did. All his stuff was fantastic. Hope he's doing well.
All right, Matt, I'm not fucking around. We're ordering pizza. What do you want on it?
Pepperoni.
All right. Okay, so guess what? We can't afford pizza. What's your favorite family recipe?
Family recipe.
Yeah, man. Does mom cook something? Do you have, does the wife cook something? You're like, oh, I wish I had grandma's fried potatoes. Like, what you got?
I didn't really have an upbringing like that. We didn't have no family dinners. Everybody, hey, here's a TV dinner. Feed yourself.
Yeah.
There's nothing like that. No family time like that growing up, unfortunately. Now, I mean, really anything the wife cooks. A lot of crock pot stuff as of late.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
No, those are good answers right there.
I'm pasta. I'll eat pasta all day.
Also, what you said there keeps that crock pot warm. Keep talking. Yeah. Let's see here. Would you rather have a personal trainer or a personal chef?
Personal chef.
Yeah. What are you listening to when you're working out?
Oh, I can't remember the last time I worked out. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't big on physical fitness. I think soon I will be though. My goal is I don't have enough back scars. I was always very jealous of Grant's back and June Kasai's back. So my goal this year is to finally get into shape and take the singlet off and go bare chested again because I need more back scars. So that's a goal of mine. But music wise, I listen to everything, but I think at the end of the day, I'm real big on just 80s music. I don't really listen to like heavy metal and shit like that. People probably think I do because we're in deathmatch wrestling, but I listen to a lot of 80s, a lot of rap, or early 90s, hip hop and 80s pop music. That's my go-tos.
Worst shoot job you've ever had?
Oh, I only had a few of them. The last regular job that I had was in 2013. I was stocking shelves at Dollar Tree in Northeast Philly. I have not. I have, again, humbly and fortunately enough, I've been just have been able to live and survive off of pro wrestling since 2013. Running a company and wrestling. So I'm very fortunate and thankful, for that. But I worked at Dollar Tree, all stocking shelf jobs. Like I said, I didn't graduate high school, so I could get what I could get. I was stocking shelves at ShopRite, Dollar Tree. I worked at a Dunkin' Donuts for a little bit. Yeah, that was about it. A handful of jobs.
Bro, I remember in high school I was working at a job that was a grocery store, and dude, you get hungry, you're like, well, this is damaged. You pop a fucking bag, go take it. Like you're like lining up all the cans and shit, and behind the cans is your bag of food. Yeah, yeah.
I took many of chocolate milks from Dollar Tree.
It happens.
I gotta go back to this. Yeah, Reed, I agree with you. That was the wild reason to get in shape. I want to get in shape to destroy my back.
Yes.
Awesome. I loved hearing that. That was, as a fan, I'm excited.
Hey, everybody has to have goals, right? All right, Matt, no fucking around. What's your favorite conspiracy theory?
Oh, I don't know. I've never really been big into them. I hear of them, like the moon landing and all that. I listen to a lot of podcasts and Joe Rogan and shit. But I don't know what to believe, what not to believe. So that's really not my bag.
All right, favorite pro wrestling conspiracy theory.
I've got to think of one. Is there?
Yeah.
Is there any?
You might have to name a couple.
Yeah. What are you thinking of, B?
I was just thinking of like some of the stories. Like as we were kind of talking about the Bruiser Brody stories and kind of like those kind of the
Who
ones
killed Brody?
Well, I mean, we know we got answers and stuff, but there's always the conspiracy theories that people talk about of how that kind of goes. So I didn't know, as we were talking about Bruiser Brody, I didn't know if you knew of any conspiracy theories with that. Yeah, there we go. Montreal being a work. Thank you. Great one.
Oh, the
I don't know.
Montreal
I didn't know if you possibly heard of any wrestling conspiracy theories.
Yeah, probably the same ones that everyone else has seen on or heard of on shoot interviews and Dark Sides of the Ring. I've seen and heard the same ones.
In a couple of years, I think we'll have some to talk about for GCW related.
You never know. There's gonna be some wild stories come out of that camp once it's all said and done. Do you have any ghost stories or spooky stories that you could share over your life? Did you have something ever happen to you that's weird?
Here
it is. I feel it coming.
So, I don't know. I'm not a real big religious person at all, but I think over the last few years, especially since Grant and Marcus's passing, I have, my wife and I have friends that have gifted us, crystals and stuff, and energy and people always being around, and I've become a little bit more believable of that stuff over the years, and I've especially here at the building when we have shows and stuff. I've always definitely always feel their presence. I don't know, not everybody's into that stuff or whatever, but I've definitely have felt it more over the years, and I've definitely places that I've gone, and here at H2O, definitely feel like their Grant and Marcus's presence is always around and watching, and it's a good feeling.
Well, if you have a show, where else are they going to go that night?
Yeah.
Right. Do you have a favorite quote?
Probably the one I said that Grant said earlier. It's nice to be nice.
In your travels, have you fallen in love with any area of the country or world you'd consider maybe moving to if New Jersey fell off the map?
Yeah. Down south.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
So we kind of talked about this, but I'm going to kind of take it in a different direction. What would the young you think is the coolest thing about you now?
it, probably like pretty much all my idols that I grew up watching, I've met and have had conversations with or have worked with in some shape or form in capacity in the wrestling business. Uh, and yeah, Foley would probably be number one. I got me and Foley's picture hanging on the wall when we met each other at ICW a year or so ago. Yeah, I'd tell myself, yeah, you'd meet met all my idols, and they've all been extremely nice and towards me, and talk at times, and yeah, it's just pretty cool and still surreal to this day.
Do you play any musical instruments?
I can't play the guitar. I'm not very good, but I've owned an acoustic guitar uh, at different times in my life, and I can play a few licks. That's about it.
What was your first car?
Oh, I've never had a car. I've never driven a day in my life.
Okay, so then I'll ask you this. Did
Yes.
you marry your driver, or did she become your driver?
Oh,
Like,
she
you met
didn't
her
mind.
first?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna say, like, if she's a damn good driver and the arrangement
Our first
works.
friendship was with Gary and Champion.
Yeah, she offered and she didn't mind. So yeah, we like I said, she's put just as much or more miles on the road as some of the wrestlers in the business. I wouldn't make it to my shows if it wasn't for her. And
Like the way.
Bless that.
Yeah, yeah.
Bless that, Um, let's just say wrestling isn't happening, you've retired. Is there a craft or something you'd like a skill you'd like to develop, like some like woodworking, making candles? Is there something you ever wanted to kind of do?
Uh, there's no trade I would like to do or anything like that. My goal I've always had in the back of my head, once I'm done, I kind of want to be like Matsunaga and open up some kind of food establishment here in America that that the foreigners and people here can come to. So my goal, maybe 20 years from now, open like Bulldozer's Pizza, and just
Fuck
open
yeah.
open a pizzeria. And then when foreigners come over here, they can come grab a slice of Tremont's Pizzeria, and get
Get a
the
jacket?
yeah, and get a jacket. Yeah, that's my goal to one day open that.
That is the best answer we've ever had on this podcast. I love it. That is such an awesome idea.
So are you a gamer at all or no?
I am not.
Good.
I got like a little handheld thing to try to keep me occupied that
Yep.
JB just gave me not too long ago. But other than that, I am not on the games. All the new games I suck at anyway. Like I played 64 back in the day, and I was halfway decent at them. But those games are too hard now.
Well, then I'm going to ask you a couple childhood games. I got one last question after that. We'll get you the hell out of here, Matt. We're going into little Maddie's childhood. Was there a video game you dominated?
Crash Bandicoot, I was pretty good at.
Were you one of the people you were talking about N64? Were you part of the WCW games or anything like that from back in the day?
See, I sucked at all wrestling games. I play like Mario Kart, Star Fox, NBA Jam, Madden. I played those games. I suck at all the wrestling games. I don't even fuck with them.
What was little Matt listening to back in the day?
Yeah, probably same stuff I am now. It probably even more rap and hip hop when I was in my earlier days, but same shit I'm listening to now.
Where you listen to a lot of East Coast, like Wu-Tang, Redman, like
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
like that, or
Yes, yeah, and I had a West Coast phase. I was listening to the game. I remember getting off the bus from school and taking the bus to the Hamilton Mall, Mays Landing, to buy Get Rich or Die Trying. Yeah, so like when that CD dropped in like 2003. So,
what was your favorite cereal back then?
I'm playing. I like Cheerios.
Whatever.
I'm a plain guy. Yeah.
I
Or
wasn't
Captain
allowed to
Crunch.
eat sugar cereal, so I had I had no choice but cereal, Cheerios and shit. What about your favorite cartoon? What were you watching back in the day? Were you a Fox kid, Nick kid?
Yeah, definitely watched all Fox Afternoon, but
Yep.
and Ninja Turtles was always number one.
Did you have a favorite toy or something you can remember that you really liked?
I know when I was younger, I guess apparently I always had some kind of action figure or toy in my hand. Uh,
Baby dinosaur.
oh, the my wife just reminded me. So there was a TV show years ago. It was called Dinosaur,
Mhm.
not the mama,
Yes.
the baby.
Yes.
I used to have an action figure of that, and I used to fucking carry that around everywhere I went when I was little.
Was it like with the little like the thing he sits in?
No, just him himself. Like it
Oh,
was
okay,
one of
okay.
them figures that couldn't move. It was rock hard and heavy. I'd probably chew on it when I was a kid and I just carried it with me everywhere.
Okay, I'm about to get you in trouble in front of the wife here real quick. Did you have a celebrity crush when you were a kid?
I don't give a shit.
Oh, shit.
Celebrity crush.
Let's see, you're 30.
Not non-rep.
Oh, non-rep?
Yeah. I don't
Hmm.
know.
Yeah, you're getting in people in trouble. over
We
here,
had
John.
we had some to we
Oh,
had
I'm
some
good.
people like
Ju-
I like
Topanga.
the answer. The answer was great. I don't give a shit.
I guess I'm trying. I guess the first crush was probably the Pink Power Ranger.
See, we've heard that one before too,
Yeah.
actually. That's one of
Yeah.
the ones we've heard. No kidding. All right, so I'm going to keep it to the last question here and then you can do what you want. But Matt, thank you. This is basically your time to talk with your fans and supporters uninterrupted. I'm going to give you the floor and you can shoot, man. If you want to talk to people who've come in, there's easily 1,000 or more in here. I've seen, I don't even know where we're at. I just offhand.
We're
So,
at
man,
1,000.
we're at okay. By all means, man, they came here to listen to you tonight. If you want to say anything to them uninterrupted, it's all yours, brother.
I appreciate it. Appreciate all the fans. Like at the end of the day, since day one, as we touched on earlier, I've had the support from the fan base. From the day I hopped the guardrail in Philly, and I was a made man since then. And it's really, and that's helped me blossom into the career that I've had because I've been able to make that a emotional connection with the people that have supported me since day one. And really, without that, you could be the most talented person in the world and get it done in the ring. But if that extra connection with the fans and the people that pay to come see you, you really don't have anything at the end of the day. I've been able to, travel the world on someone else's dime and do a lot of really cool things, and a lot of cool places and live a lot of dreams and that have become a reality and so on and so forth. But just a continued big thank you for even after 18 years in the wrestling business to continue to support me and still pay to want to see me wrestle. And it means a lot and keeps me going after all these years. So yeah, just a huge thank you. That it keeps me going. I'm going to keep going in there and doing my thing, even after all this time in the business, physically and mentally, I feel great right now. And I feel like I'm about to hit another stride and like be having the DMDU deathmatch title and the GCW Ultraviolent belt. I feel like it's given me something else to look forward to and work hard with. And I'm really looking forward to this year to get out and travel and venture to places either I haven't been to in quite some time or places I haven't been to at all with GCW and other promotions. So yeah, just a huge thank you. And thank you to you guys. I don't do podcasts often. So I
Yeah.
just, I appreciate coming on and with you guys and having me on and chatting it up and, hope everybody that's tuned in has enjoyed it. And I can't thank you enough for supporting me, supporting H2O, GCW, supporting all my students. And, and at the end of the day, that's what, if I leave any kind of legacy behind, I don't really think about that stuff, but if people see my students and they see them wrestle here or elsewhere, them doing their thing, they're my legacy and what I leave my hat on when I'm all said and done. And seeing them do all the things that they're doing here and elsewhere, just very proud of them all. And hopefully they can make a career and do this for a very long time. And at the end of the day, it goes back to the support of the fans and them and investing into them and all of us, emotionally and financially buying a ticket to see us. Just can't thank you enough.
I want you to know on the other end here, chat is just flowing with thank yous to you also, Matt. So
I appreciate it.
I mean, it's all love all around. We couldn't be more thankful. We know that this isn't always the easiest interview, but we try to get something thorough on you down, and we try to answer some questions that, you know, other people haven't tried to ask. So, are there any wrestlers you'd like to shout out right now?
I'll, I'll continue to be biased and just shout out my kids, man.
Yeah.
You know, Austin Luke in particular. I know he's gotten a couple shots at GCW in the last year or so, but to me, he was the wrestler's wrestler that came out of this school. He's a Daniel Bryan, Rob Van Dam mix, and he's just waiting for the right opportunity and right person to see him outside of H2O to really take it to the next level for himself, and you know, being able to do this full time and make a living at what he's doing, and everyone else here, Declan Grant. He's the H2O champ. He's another one. He trained originally at the compound. Excuse me, with Homicide. So he's one of the last students of Homicide. Then him and Jess Moss came here and trained, and just everyone that's here that has done great things, and I want them to do great things outside of here and outside of H2O, whether it's GCW, ICW in the chains, or you know, any other wrestling promotion. You know, 'cause they put the time and effort in here, and they're all made here. And now I just want them to see them continue their careers outside of here, and being able to, you know, try to make a living and, you know, doing what they love to do.
Spreading that good karma, right?
Yes, sir.
So then the only other thing I'll ask you, is there anything you'd like to plug before we head out?
Oh, the promoter in me, come see H2O Reminisce, Saturday, March 22nd here in Williamstown, New Jersey, at the H2O Wrestling Center, and then this weekend, GCW doubleheader at the Showboat. Me and Cyclope tagging against Violence is Forever on Saturday, and then me and Beastman collide when I defend my Ultraviolent title for the first time. This is going to be a bloody big man mess. So I'm looking forward to this weekend, and just come see GCW, see H2O, and support anywhere that you can to support independent wrestling.
Bless you, Matt. Thank you for everything tonight. I think I speak on behalf of 1,000 others saying we really appreciate the time that you gave with us. We know that it is very rare, and we are very, very thankful that we're able to sit down on any night to talk with you. What do you say, B? We just go ahead and close this thing out right here. And Matt, I want to see you on the other side just to say goodbye on the flip side here.
Sounds good.
Yep,
Thank
I
you,
just want to
guys.
say thank you again, Matt, for coming on, and that was another awesome interview, and we can't wait to see you in AC to defend that UV title belt this weekend. All right, here we go, John. Let's see if we can get it right here. We got good internet. Oh, we got this. We got this time. All right,
long.
Jesus Christ.
Live.
G.
C.
W.
Good night.